to be a part of ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000 or visit our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, and it's caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Brooklyn beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 for Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I am Chad Brilliante. Glad to be with you as always. Going to have some fun today as we get to all the big games. It is Thursday. That means got a little foosball for you as we are going to talk some big games and more coming up here. We'll get to what's going on right now in college hoops and also talk some more NBA action and the big games coming up with LSU and Alabama. Joining me, the cast today, having some fun and a roundtable discussion in sports all the time. But Jeff Price, Justin Patrick joining us. Jeff, what's happening, my friend?
Just another day in paradise.
Just enjoying another day of paradise with rain to 30 degrees to 80 degrees the next day night. Hey, it's football season, so I'm not going to complain that much. But overall, it is just another day in paradise. Justin, what's happening, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a long day with the rain and all that. It's a little bit wet walking to classes and stuff like that, but it's getting through.
Getting through? Are you the umbrella guy like Mary Poppins out there? Looking like Cam Newton?
I'm more the hood-up jacket guy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're like the quick one, the guy from one of those, like, what did you do last summer kind of thing? Not looking here. Yeah, walk around like this on the side. With But looking at the games tonight, you got the LA Chargers and the Oakland Raiders. A classic rivalry, but it's not one of these games that's going to really pop out. Thursday Night Football really hasn't had too many of those games. I like the Chargers the way they're playing, though. I think they're going to come on strong in this one and have a chance to do something special.
Yeah, I mean, well, personally, I hope it's a 51-52 game, meaning I have Darren Waller and Hunter Henry on my fantasy team. Both of them are starting tonight. And then I have Melvin Gordon as well. But I agree. I think the Chargers, they got rid of Wisenhunt. I think that's huge. Kind of trying to revamp their season. They have too much talent to be playing the way that they're playing, especially with that defense. And for Oakland, you can never count. He just continues to find ways to win ball games somehow. So should be probably one of our better matchups.
Well, it should be a fun one. And I think one of the things, if you look at the teams, it's going to be the kind of game where I think if you're a Oakland fan, you got to feel like you sitting at 4-4 is one that you really weren't expecting at the beginning of the season. There was a lot. Last year's team was in turmoil. You lose Antonio Brown, Khalil Mack the year before, and then all of a sudden you jump right back into the mix this year, and you're sitting there with a shot. For LA at 4-5, you almost feel like you've underachieved, like you should be doing more. So I look at it and say, if you're a fan of one of those teams, this is a game where, as a Raider fan, you're almost playing with house money compared to if you're a Charger fan, you need to win this game.
Well, it's a home game for Oakland, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regardless if it was in L.A., it doesn't matter. They have that stadium.
It's going to be one of those kind of things too, where we'll get to more on that coming up here as well, and talk some more about the games going on right now in college football. Now we're only a few days away. LSU and Alabama getting set to go, and one of the things is we've talked a little bit about LSU and the way that Joe Burrow can go down the field. I look at this game and say Alabama's still the better football team. And that's one of the keys is, Justin, if you look right now, Alabama still has a better overall roster. Joe Burrow is just playing incredibly well. It's going to be close. And honestly, LSU, though, if you look at their way and the style of how they play, most of the big games that they've been in, a lot of those matchups have been close. Florida, Texas, some of those matchups. They haven't been complete dominations. Alabama is one of those teams that at home, there's a reason they've dominated their opponents. Do you see anything different in this one?
No, I'm not hoping for the 9-6 matchup that we saw 8-9 years ago, I believe. I'm looking for more. I want to see some touchdowns, of course, but I don't expect a blowout. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting to be somewhere within 10 points is where the differential will be at the end of the game. And see, Alabama, they've seen Burrow, and LSU's seen Tua. And Tua is not 100% right now. He'll probably still play, of course. But Joe Burrow, he's a completely different quarterback than what he was last year in this game. And so Alabama, they really don't know what they're about to walk into and see out of Burrow.
Yeah, and I think the same thing. And Alabama just knows how to win. And this is really the first time in a little while that LSU has been in this position. And, yes, it's kind of new territory for them. Joe Burrow is a fantastic quarterback, but this is the biggest game of his life right now. Mm-hmm. And could be and depending on how it turns out, could be ever. But it's a great story in Joe Burrow and what he's been able to do this year. But Alabama still, as much as they continue to win, they don't get the respect that they deserve because everybody says, oh, well, their defense is no good anymore. Their defense is still good. It's still good enough to win, obviously. But I think with Delpit and those guys in secondary, they've been exposed at times this year, especially to be top, draft picks as they're projected. I just don't know if they're going to be able to handle the receivers. I mean, you're talking about Jerry Jeudy and those guys. They are just so good. And they can run deep if they need to. But half the time, you get the Oma screen, and they're going to take it 65 yards down the field. So they're going to have their hands full. I think Alabama pulls it out 34-31.
Yeah, I see. I think they gosh, I hate saying this because I mean, I'm supposed to be watching this with the LSU fans in purple and gold, and but I got to look at this. But I got to every pick I make, and I'm not right. Not because I said this isn't like when the guy walked up to me at the Superstore and I was like, "Who do you think the first quarterback's going to be that year?" I was like, "Well, I think I think Baker Mayfield." That's what I've been. Well, Josh Allen, and I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? The draft's in a week?" And he's like, "Mel Kiper said Josh Allen." And I'm like, oh, okay, well, why don't you even watch the draft? Okay, Thank you for letting me know that. So with that, all that being said, even with this, I look at it and say, okay, if I had to pick based on who's a better football team, Alabama's a better football team. Now, the health of Tua is going to be a concern. Yes. And also, Joe Burrow's been good enough to find a way to make big plays in every game to make it competitive. So I got to say, if I'm somebody like, if I'm an LSU fan, you got to feel comfortable because of Joe Burrow. But if you're an Alabama fan, based on that you're a better football team at home in an environment that gets up and you've had a coach that gets up for big games, this is the type of game where there's a reason Alabama is a 6.5-point favorite. And I think they cover that. I honestly think they're going to be – I think they win this game 35-24. I think it's going to be somewhere, and that doesn't make LSU that would make them still in the mix. I hope it's closer. I'm rooting against my feeling. I got a feeling, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong on this.
See, I don't think they'll reach 30 points because I just feel like the defense. I think it's good enough to hold that game back a little bit more. Of course, Alabama always being a powerhouse on offense, and LSU shown to be the same thing this year. I don't see LSU breaking 30 against Bama. I don't see Bama doing the same thing towards LSU either. It really just comes down to, in my opinion, the home game. Like whoever's at home in this game this year, I feel like it's going to win this game because there's such hard places to play. If this was an LSU, I'm picking LSU.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and since it's in Bama, that's why I'm going to rather go with Bama.
LSU's defense is vulnerable at times, though.
But do we feel like the defensive line for LSU can apply pressure to Tua? I mean, I just looking at their dominant defensive lines in the past, they don't have that dominant force and 3 or 4 guys like they normally have, and I think Alabama's offensive line has been pretty top tier this year.
I mean, of course, you have Alex Leatherwood from Washington, who's part
he's
of that
doing a good job.
O-line. You know, Alabama's O-line is always going to be one of the toughest ones to go up against. And LSU, not really the caliber defensive line they had last year. And that's why I don't think their defensive line is where it's going to be most important. I think it's going to be the secondary. They're going to try and change things up a little bit.
And this is a game, too. It's fascinating because you look right now at LSU, and this was a team that put up a goose egg at home last year, not 1 point. And it was with Joe Burrow. But it was a different type of offense. It was an offense that was stagnant. They didn't really go down and do anything from a standpoint of passing. You bring in Joe Brady to work with him, a quarterback guru, and the next thing you know, now according to Vegas, the over-under on LSU's team total in this game is 29 points. So what they're saying, and the over-under the game is 63. So they're expecting, based on that, based on the spread and the score, Vegas is setting the line at 35-29 type game. 35 to, I mean, it makes more sense 35-28 based on a football score. Go for 2. Be like, doesn't matter. It's again. No. So 35, but I got the over under. 35-28, 29 is the score. And based on that, that's not your typical game. However, these are not your typical offenses. You know, we're joking around, but if you woke up in a coma and you realize, first off, feel bad for you. But secondly, if you've been in a coma for 3 years and you woke up, Ed O, the coach that people like in Ole Miss were like, yeah, come on out. Like, Edo ripped his shirt off. Yeah. Football. Like everything going on. Like he's number one in the nation right now. Then you have Nick Saban that is running a spread offense, up and down the field spread offense. You've got Donald Trump is our president, who was on The Apprentice telling people you're fired. And you have right now that you wouldn't know that. And you would also have a guy in Tommy Tuberville who's running for governor or running for a seat in Congress. So like all of these things have happened. The only thing that is normal, the only thing is Urban Meyer is still retired but not.
By the way,
that's the only thing that seems to be the norm.
All 4 of those guys are going to be at the game.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Speaking of Trump going to the game.
It's going to be a what do you think of that, by the way? I don't mind. I thought it was funny, though, when Coach Stallings said, that's great, and we're going to talk to Pat Dye. He might be at the game, too, this week. But, Pat was talking, and I thought it was funny. But Gene's like, that's great. He goes, Chad, no president came when I was coaching, but he said, apparently back then they had better things to do. Like meaning like
that's
in
a
way.
Gene Stallings.
Yeah, he was. Well, thank you, right? Chad of Washington. But he was out there and that's what he said. He's like, look, it wasn't about the show as much as there was things going on when he was out there that they needed to figure out. So
it is a little weird though, just kind of out of the blue that he shows up to this game. Maybe a national championship game, I get, but
he's been at the UFC fight last week. He was at the he got
he's trying to win some votes a little bit.
He's just trying to have some fun before it possibly is over. I'm not saying it's over, but
I think he's trying to campaign a little bit too, showing up to these big games a little bit.
Probably obvious. Yeah. I mean that's obvious, but it doesn't matter because we went from polar opposite spectrum presidents, meaning that we went from the Northwest to the Southeastern Conference. We went from the Seattle Sounders in soccer to Alabama in Tuscaloosa in football. Like the fan bases are not the same.
No, nowhere near.
No,
nowhere
multicolored. Yeah, let's be honest with that completely here. Same thing with from President Obama to President Trump. We just had different types of both are polarizing personalities, but in a different way.
We better move on.
No, it's fine. No, please don't ever. How dare you guys? No, I'm just joking. No, listen, I can talk because I don't need to get into politics as much as the truth of the matter is neither one of the presidents, though, needs to say another about the other president about being in the spotlight for things because for the people that were calling out Barack for taking jump shots and filling out brackets, now, President Trump is out there going to these games. Both of them were trying to get but more people know about President Trump's tweets than they know what's happening right now at the Pentagon or what's happening with one of the things going on.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in. Look, Oprah has no people. If Oprah ran for president, she would win by going like, Oprah, what is your current policy on what to do with foreign diplomats? She'd be like, well, I would get them to my house. They'd all come over. And they would all win a new Volkswagen. And everyone like, well, she didn't die. All right. All of a sudden, like the crowd's cheering and be like, she didn't answer the question. She didn't Volkswagen for everybody. And then and all the other president candidates would be like, all right, we'll take it. But that's the funny thing is at this point, you wouldn't even know because that's the truth of what we live in today. There's very few people that read enough to know the details. And they're going to argue to the death. And they're in groups right now doing that, or watching C-SPAN and not doing this. So looking at some of the other news going on, Florida State defensive tackle Marvin Wilson will miss the rest of the season following hand surgery. Look, is this take my strong hand. This is a moment right here where Marvin Wilson, he's a beast too. Yeah. I mean, this guy's he's one of those that you pick out on Florida State, 6'5", 315 pounds. He's a junior. He will be, in the draft, he's looked at as a top 25 guy on Mel Kiper's board right now. Number 3 defensive tackle. So he has a future ahead of him and a lot of money. Now, there's only a few games left, and obviously it's not going the way Florida State wants. But I'm not going to call out anyone, especially, if he's going to be out there. He probably was playing through some pain. But a hand injury is one of those that it really depends. Back in the day, not clubbing, like going out hip-hopping with Snoop Dogg, but you could wrap your hand around. And how many guys – I love the old days when the ball would be batted in the air and they would be going to run to catch it, but only one hand worked, and it was like a seal, like hitting the ball, and you would try to – he would pop it up in the air until somebody else could run by and grab it. But those guys played. And when they got to the quarterback, poof, right over the head right there. I wonder how many times those mummy wraps led to a concussion for the quarterbacks. Now today, if you graze the side of their logo, you're ejected in 15 yards. And your family is shunned from the city. But it looks like for a guy like what Marvin's done, and Marvin Wilson's a good player, this was probably a time where he sat down and was like, okay, you know what? It is. He's hurt, but he probably could have played going forward. But this isn't the first time. And frankly, with this argument, the old Leonard Fournettes, Clowneys, the guys that have sat out bowl games, it takes a lot of guys will stand up and be like, no, I'm going to play for my team. But if it's like, no, play for a bowl game that you get a Seiko watch at a Best Buy gift card, or you can go out there and you can make $20 million without getting hurt. Some of those guys are like, peace out, team. We love you. Kisses everywhere, but you look at those guys like, bro, if you were in my shoes, you'd be doing the same thing here.
Yeah, if they're competing for the ACC, championship or have a shot at it, he's probably playing for sure.
So he would rather get he's going to go have surgery. He's going to miss the rest. He had hand surgery, and now he's going forward with it. So, and I don't think at this point, Florida State fans are not as worried about Marvin Wilson. If this was a game to make something. But they're a 2-point underdog to Boston College, who's a bad football team this year. This is not. They're not that worried. They're more worried that the rumors continue of Bob Stoops being there, or at least one of the 50 Stoops being on campus.
Now, who's I guess we should go ahead and talk about this, but with Bob Stoops, who else do you think is in consideration for this job?
I have no clue now. I'm not. At one point, I thought it was Bob Stoops, and I think a lot of but I've been duped by Stoops. So at this point, I'm going to go down and grab your popcorn like everybody else and eat it. That's what I'm doing. I'm sitting back and enjoying the rodeo because I've asked. We're not here. People think that we sit in a motherboard like in a movie Independence Day, and hit all these buttons and figure out answers. Like Mike Pereira in the booth, best job ever. For 2 seconds a game, they're like, Mike, what are you doing? He getting done smoking a cigar. He's like, okay, hold on a second. Let me see that. That was a catch. Thanks, Mike. Incomplete. Call on the field stands, and he's like, I'll see you in another 20 minutes. And the best job in sports, popping up there in the little mini box as the now they do it in basketball. Have you seen the new guys popping up where he's just like, that clearly could have been a charge, but it could have been a block. I don't think it's enough to overturn it. They're
did you see the one last night with Eric Bledsoe and the Bucks? He didn't even touch him and caught it.
I did see that with the elbow.
They reviewed it and.
There was not enough evidence.
Nope,
that's the easiest answer right there. There was not enough
that's
evidence.
Always
it's like an insurance company, there's not enough evidence to give you full amount for your car. But I only have a wheel left. Yeah, but you have that wheel. Who knows if you just drove that way into your house, into your garage. Yep. No, the attic fell on my car last night. Nice try there. Nice try. It is, there's not enough evidence is the easiest way out. It's the easiest answer to I didn't know that happened. Whoops. I didn't know you were behind me when I smashed into your taillight right there. It is the easiest way to just cop out. And, for the basketball league, I don't mind them going down that, but that was, he didn't even touch him. It was ridiculous. I saw that play. But to the point with the guys and doing that, come on, it's.
To piggyback off what you said earlier, asking about the Florida State coach, can I just be bold and just throw this out there just on a whim and just hope? This is pure hope that Lane Kiffin is in Tallahassee.
You are in my head. You're in my head because I wanted to say the same thing. I didn't know if you agree with me.
Don't hold back if I don't agree with you.
Okay.
Right.
Well, here's the thing.
The Patriots are terrible, by the way.
Well, no.
We're opening that up.
Okay,
We need to go to break now.
See, I was actually in the garage last night working on the Jeep with my dad. And we sit down like we're done, and like he's talking about Bob Stoops and then other guys. I'm like, you know who would be my favorite? I go Lane Kiffin, and like that's actually what happened because I just feel like he's done a great job at FAU. And I feel like FSU, they can pay him enough to pay out what he's making there now. He's done a great job. He's made them a top contender at Conference USA. His first year there, won a Conference USA championship.
He's a good recruiter.
He's a great.
Apparently,
he can make
Justin didn't follow enough football when he was in Knoxville. I don't know.
You know what? That's the pass.
Oh, that's a pass.
Man.
Okay.
He can make FSU another offensive powerhouse. He's made great players at FAU.
Murderers say that in conjugal visits too.
Oh
I'm a change man. I'm a change man. On that note, let's go ahead and. Lane Kiffin, hey, some people have related those two. So coming back for more, it's the Sports Drive. Lane Kiffin didn't murder anyone that we know of. Coming back for more right here in the Sports Drive. Disclaimer.
Saturdays are meant for sports, so Sports Call with Davis and Justin is here to kick off your sports weekend.
College football, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, the PGA Tour. If it's happening on Saturday, we're talking about it.
Plus, weekly interviews with the players, coaches, and fellow journalists.
Be a part of the show by calling or texting in at 623-1330.
Sports Call with Davis and Justin every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Guys, waking up over and over to pee is not okay. But now, you can reduce those nighttime bathroom trips with the ingredients in Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced. We're talking about less urges to pee at night, less bathroom trips during the day, and better bladder emptying.
It's like taking 3 prostate supplements in one.
You can try a full 30-day bottle of P3 Advanced, free.
Just pay shipping and handling.
No strings attached, no obligations, and no commitments to buy. This is a 30-day supply, absolutely free.
Call 1-800-253-7136.
Super Beta Prostate is the best-selling brand in major retailers like Walmart. But for this no-strings-attached free bottle, you must call now.
Call 1-800-253-7136.
Don't miss out on this unprecedented free offer.
Call 1-800-253-7136. 1-800-253-7136.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there.
We are broadcasters. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
This is a message for all parents. If you as an adult think it's tough being separated or divorced, have you truly stopped to consider how your being separated or divorced affects your children? How parents treat one another, either during or after divorce, can have lifelong effects on your children. Whether you are separated from your spouse or even actually divorced, in either situation, keep in mind that you and your spouse are parents forever. Hello, my name is Stephen T. Holman, and I am a family law attorney. If you have questions regarding custody, visitation, or child support, call me today for a free consultation at 435-6909. That's 435-6909.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-head old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola, 1330.
back. Sports Drive with you right here at ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante, Justin Patrick, Jeff Price, and I'm the grandmother next to the bedstand there at night, apparently. So, right before we come back from break, I'm like, this is not, since we got the show televised here. Sometimes people forget that, it's they'll come in here and they'll be kicking back the feet or, going for a scratch or something in their nose, and I'm like, psst, over there. It's like, I know. I'm like, well, that's even worse for hygiene. But, but moments where right now, with coldies and the way I've been feeling the last couple of days, I've been sick, and they've quarantined me into this box, so you guys are now part of that. And he's like, I'm in that movie. Like, I didn't know that, man. So you can't leave for 5 days, by the way, Justin.
Oh, okay.
Jeff was already here.
Yeah. Well,
he knows
the
rules.
Day,
he knows.
Yeah.
He didn't get the shot before he came in? Uh-oh. If you start turning green, like our color of our shirts. But so I've got all the different pills out here that I have to take, and I'm sitting here before the break, like chopping them up. I'm like, this is not great for TV. So they're vitamins, but nobody needs to know. Looking at the story of what's going on right now in the NFL, Antonio Brown has come out today and pretty much said that, look, are we going to have a situation where you're gonna change the way that you look at me? This is a league that they're racist against blacks. This, and he went down and just even. But the thing is, when you know that even the people on your own side that you're trying to rally aren't agreeing with you, like none of the black players are like getting his back on this. Like, they're just like, dude, you're just being a bozo right now. Yeah. Like you're a good player. You had all the money in the world. You had all the opportunity. You did not need to go down this path. You chose this path. It's like the guy having a hissy fit that nobody asked to have a hissy fit at school. Like, I'm not going to do this. Why are you making me do the homework? And we're like, I didn't even know we had homework today. Like, he didn't need to go down any of this. He created his own problems. And if he would have worked out some way with the helmets in a more organized, more not just delinquent way, this would have been something where I think they could have come to some kind of agreement or conclusion. But the way he's handled everything, and Bill Belichick and them, they're not going to play games or go to the media. What they're going to just be is like, bye. And that's exactly what happened. It was like tomorrow he was never a story in New England. Yeah. And that's what they're going to do.
I mean, it's like with Randy Moss when he played there. Like, if Randy Moss caused any drama, like, it was just, all right, bye. And that's the thing. Like, it's kind of like he chose, like, the easiest cop-out, like, had nothing else to say, and that's what he went for there. He just copped out, went for that punch, and, like, a lot of people are just like, no, you're just throwing that out there. And no one else is agreeing.
Antonio Brown at this point, Jeff, he is saying at this point his word doesn't hold too much weight, but he said he's not coming back to the NFL.
I don't think he has much of a choice.
But the sad part about this story is he's actually still good.
He's fantastic.
And that's the sad part is there's a lot of times Des Bryant or these guys, they start to talk or everybody wants me, and they're like, no, nobody's calling you. Even with Kaepernick, regardless of everything, we're not going down this path. You understand how I feel. I always said raised in a military family, and we're not going down that path again because that took up way too much time as my time on radio. But the difference is I look and say, if you're sitting there as somebody that has a shot to do something special and nobody else is calling you or wants you, then it's different. But like if Brown would just take a humble approach right now, there would be teams right now almost guaranteed that would be calling him during the trade deadline. Like, think about this. If you're San Francisco or someone like that, and you just got Emmanuel Sanders, and you know that your time is now, and you got George Kittle, if you could add Antonio Brown to that mix, all of a sudden you're really good.
Ooh,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's some good stuff right there. So you don't want to mess with the culture of that locker room too much either. So that's why they're not latching on. It's not because of the athlete he is. It's because you don't want to add that to what already – if a team's 8-0, you don't need to add that kind of cancerous to the locker room. As a player, though, you would love to have a talent like that.
Yeah. You would always love to. You think maybe he's regretting not going to Buffalo now?
No, I don't think anybody's ever used that comment. I don't know. No, I don't.
I mean, they're 6-2.
No, the record is beyond. No guy that wants to be Hollywood wants to go to Buffalo. That never has actually happened.
It's a Hall of Fame talent. He has Hall of Fame talent bar none. I don't think anybody would argue with that. And everybody in the league, if you look at talent-wise, would want to sign him. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you look at his baggage that he comes with and you look at the attitude and everything, that's what kills him. And then he still, with all this going on, has teams that were interested. And then he does stuff like this. Like he's going to meet with the NFL next week. Now, I don't know if he heard something of what may come of it or whatever. He still has an opportunity. He's still young enough to play years and years in this league. It's like, dude, just go away, lock yourself in a room and hide. Throw every bit of media, phones, whatever it may be away for the next year and just work out.
Get a petition to just block, delete all his social media accounts with Twitter, Instagram. Just get a petition.
And even I feel like there's a chance he's schizophrenic. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at today. I'm looking at the reports, and apparently now Josina Anderson, who apparently he's hired like full term. ESPN's probably like, Josina, your job over the next couple of weeks is just to work with him, because there's been 3 top-tier stories because it knows like fools like myself are going to click it. And then all of a sudden, but just a few minutes ago, the story was, no chance, I'm never going back. I pity the fool. They're not going to go to the NFL. Now it's a few minutes later, he just told Josina Anderson again today, after his profanity-filled tweet earlier today, clear my name and I'll never play again. Well, now he has said he's determined to play back in the NFL. This is like less than 4 hours, and the story now is reading he is determined to play again. And just a few hours, I'd never play for that league, but I'm determined to play in that league. You're like, well, wait a second. You can't do this. It's like what Tiger Woods did when he was out there using his best clubs after midnight. Like, Tiger, you can't have both. And it's one thing if you're a sex addict, you know what that's called? When you're not married, that's like the guy it's called the Fonz. Like, hey, that guy. But if you're married and you're hanging out with 15 people at night, then that's something different. So what she's doing right there is exactly pretty much what he's just contradicting everything he's saying right now. And it just needs to get to the point where, frankly, he's taking up way too much of our time. And hopefully he either goes or he comes, but then it's done.
I mean, tomorrow he'll be tweeting out saying, XFL, sign me. It's back and forth. He's bipolar with it. I don't even know.
I agree with you, though. I think it's, we don't really care much. It's just the fact that it popped up today. We're like, cool.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we're not going to be talking about it.
No, he will not. It is. We understand that he has taken up too much time. So let's get to some college football talk. We'll get to more with Gene Stallings, legendary Auburn coach, coming up here as he'll break down. Auburn's still not officially out of the rankings. It's going to take a lot.
Yep.
A lot of wins and a lot of War Eagle power out there. Just fly them. Let them loose right now. Let them soar the skies and take over the SEC. That probably wouldn't be a good thing to do, is let a bird out of the cage during this season. Coming back for more, it's the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hello, everybody. You're looking live at Fansville, a college football utopia.
Fansville.
Where the rivers flow with ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Delicious.
Where every day is Saturday and everyone's a fan, even babies.
Fan babies.
And the seasons never change because the only season is college football season. Get a taste of Fansville this fall during a college football game near you. Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Grab some today.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
Truck drivers, are you looking for freedom beyond the open road? As an owner-operator who leases on with Schneider, you'll find the independence you've been looking for. Lease on with Schneider through van truckload or bulk choice lease programs and do things your way. Our exclusive freight board means you pick the loads you want to haul from the convenience of your smartphone. Plus, with our maintenance discount program, you'll lower your business costs. Learn more about leasing on with Schneider at SchneiderOwnerOperators.com. That's SchneiderOwnerOperators.com.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns. And that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
I'm Mina Kimes, host of the new podcast ESPN Daily. Each morning, we'll bring you a deep dive into a single story from one of ESPN's hundreds of reporters. ESPN Daily is presented by Dell Small Business. Dell's Black Friday sneak peek deals fit your busy work schedule. Save now on computers with Intel Core processors plus free shipping. Call 877-BUY-DELL. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can help you find the right tech. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Or visit Dell.com/business deals.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante with you alongside Justin Patrick, Jeff Price. 850-623-1330 is the number. You can weigh in. You can send in your text as well at 850-623-1330 for our Pick'ems contest, as we are picking right now between LSU and Alabama. This is one that's a very intriguing game, but I think just like Florida and Georgia, I think we can't lose sight. And don't win any brownie points by doing this. So I'm just making that clear. I'm clearing the air. I have to make that clear. But every time I say it, I'm like, I can see the eyes. Like,
yep.
What are you saying here? Wait, are you about to pick Alabama? Uh-oh, everybody watch. Every Tiger fan he spoke to at that. I just look right now, and Alabama's still a better football team. But Joe Burrow is capable of winning any game. Any game. Florida, Georgia last week. Georgia was a better football team. They have better players. They're bigger, stronger. Their offensive line, by the way, the big ones up front, average more weight by 17 pounds than the average offensive line in the NFL. Average offensive line in the NFL is 314. The average Georgia Bulldog offensive line, which is just one of them, folks, I don't know why I said it like that, is 331 pounds. So the average player up there is 331 pounds. And those guys were just dominating the line of scrimmage. And that's why guys like Jonathan Grenard coming back and having guys up front like what we saw in Zuniga, they still didn't make the biggest difference in an impact of the game because Jake Fromm had all the time to make plays. But that's because the guys up front, you still go back to, you can do all you want. And as the game moves towards a league today where it's all about the outside, guys being able to come out of the backfield like Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas's are bigger than ever, the difference still comes down to if you win the line of scrimmage battle in any game, all of the guys are good enough at quarterback and running back to make good plays behind the right offensive line and the right defensive line if you get pressure to the quarterback. And that's the biggest difference, is Alabama, to me, will still find a way. And LSU is very close. They got the big guys up front. But when it comes down to the actual offensive and defensive line up front and the way that they're going to be able to play, I have to give the edge to Alabama. And for that, I give them the edge in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree there. I mean, with Jake Fromm, he had all sorts of time last week against Florida with that offensive line. Like, he was able, as good as Florida's secondary is, he could pick them off. If you give him that much time, he could pick them off all day. And that's why he didn't get sacked a single time, and that's why he was just able to win that game so easily. And it's going to be the same thing in this LSU-Alabama game, but also you got to think about the coaching as well. Coaching, when you compare Coach O and Nick Saban as well with what they can do, I mean, Nick Saban's clearly the favorite.
Yeah, Coach O's sitting back and eating the popcorn like we all are for the Florida State pick, too, for Coach. I think, Ed understands he's doing a good job and the passion's there, but he's letting Joe Brady do his thing. And Joe Brady is the quarterback guy. Steve Esminger is actually the offensive coordinator, but Brady's the guy working hand-in-hand with Burrow, and he's letting him do this. For the first time ever, they're letting him gunsling, but they haven't done it against the competition yet. And if you look at the games to pinpoint, Texas, Florida, these were close football games for a lot of the game. The health of Tua is going to be key here, too. There's a lot of factors in this. But Jeff, as a West Coast bra, that's just waiting back and finding, looking at the Oregon Ducks and knowing that their competition level and the way they're playing, they're sort of waiting. They're sort of waiting and watching it all. They got some games out there that people are going to be staying up, but overall, they're watching everybody else because over the next couple weeks, Penn State's going to play against Ohio State, and you're going to have a game right there between Alabama and LSU, and then we're going to figure out a lot more. So, if you're one of those guys, that's going to be the key.
Yeah, well, I mean, for Oregon, it's just one of those things that you kind of just hope. You sit back and just hope things fall in your favor, which I said it before. If things work out like we think they will, Oregon won't be in it, and rightfully so. They had their opportunity at the beginning of the year with Auburn, and they didn't work out for them. So, regardless, if you look at everything else, you talk about Georgia and Florida. The one thing I said last week with Georgia and Florida was, okay, if Georgia changes their play calling, meaning they get more aggressive, they're going to win. I picked Florida because you had Greenard coming back and Zuniga were coming back, and I ate that because they played, but Georgia was just better, and it was good to see them be able to come out and perform like we've been expecting them to all year long.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the LSU-Alabama game, this is the first time in a while we can sit back and say this LSU team, it wouldn't surprise anybody if they beat Alabama. Where normally we've been like, yeah, well, LSU's doing good this year, but they haven't played Alabama, and when they roll in there, they're going to lose, just like they always do. This year, you look at it, it's just different. And with you talking about Brady deserves the coach of the year, And I'm not talking about Tom Brady because nobody cares about him.
And please, he's too good. He's not worth your time. But you look right now at the college football playoff too, and I said that yesterday when talking about Clemson is. Everybody wants to look at North Carolina. That's the game because they don't have time to be breaking down their games against Wofford and some of these other games. They haven't played a bunch of good teams this year. But Clemson hasn't been hideous. I mean, I looked at those games, and they deserve to be number 4. There is a fun place if you're on Twitter and follow Not Sports Center. It's always a great one. But they go, how to convince the panel that a team that is your defending national champion that beat Alabama is unbeaten, but they're left out of the first college football playoff committee's top 4. How do you explain that? And they show a picture of Dave Chappelle in front of everybody at the panel right there in front of the juror, and he looks over and he points that way and he knocks the water bottle over and runs out of the building right there. But pretty much it was like, hey, look, scapegoat, where can I find it? Because you can say what you want about, well, their resume and their record. No, I mean, if you're the defending champ and you've gone out there and gone 9-0, and your games, too, here's the difference with all that being said. Yes, the game against North Carolina was bad, but Penn State had a bad game against Pittsburgh. There's been other games where they've won. We're just focusing that because the ACC is not good this year. But their wins are against 35, 42 points. Their last few games, they have won games by 45, 52, 42, 31, 42, 41, 14, and 38. Those are their games besides the game against North Carolina by 1 point. So we're punishing this team based on that they had that one game everybody goes, oh, well, if they lost that, it's all over. This is still a ridiculously good team with Justin Ross and Etienne and a guy in Sunshine that makes the throws in Trevor Lawrence. So I'm not ready to say this team has no shot because they do deserve a shot. And I think having Penn State, we'll see. If Penn State goes out and beats Ohio State, they're not going to. Penn State could lose this week to Minnesota. Minnesota's not a great team, but they're playing with energy. And Penn State's not a good enough roster. I've watched them play. They have holes. They've got ridiculously good players on the outside. And if KJ gets the ball in open space, he's gone. But they're good enough to lose these kind of games, and the depth is not there where a team like Minnesota could beat them. I'm excited for this week's game.
But see, you also got to realize here, Stephen A., he says the same thing about Clemson.
Oh, don't compare.
No, I'm not kidding. No.
I've lost credibility in my own words. All right, if you compare, if he agrees with me, I'm sorry. I'm switching sides. Folks.
He was doing the interview with Paul Feinbaum, and he was on a show, and he said the same thing about Clemson. Defending champs last year, beat Alabama, went undefeated. Paul Feinbaum, keywords there, last year, this is this year, and the reason why is because of the strength of the schedule and the power index. But also you got to realize it's not going to stay that way because, one, you basically have a semifinals going on this week and next weekend because you have two versus 3 going on with Alabama and LSU, and then you have Ohio State versus Penn State next weekend. This won't be the same playoff ranking in a couple weeks. Like, we don't worry about it. It's going to change.
I still go back to what I said yesterday. We look for Clemson's flaws now, where before Clemson was that up-and-coming team. We're like, yes, they're going to unseat Alabama. They were finally somebody's going to take down Saban. And now they've been good for the past few years, and now we're like, oh, look, I mean, they almost lost to North Carolina. The same thing we did with Alabama. Alabama would be tied with somebody in the first half and then come out and beat them by 65. And we're like, they were tied at halftime, though. This Alabama team isn't what we thought. And I think that's the same for Clemson. Clemson's crazy talented across the board. Yes, they may not look as good as they are, but that's a team that you put them against anybody for one game like that. It's hard to root against them because you've seen what they've done in the past.
If there is one team out there that, to tell you the truth, the way they've dominated their competition, Ohio State, the way that LSU, because of the SEC and the teams they've beaten, I have no problem with putting them number one right now.
100%.
And based on the polls. See, and that's not the way, though. If I'm going through looking at the teams and where they're ranked, I don't mind where the rankings are now. But Clemson knows, too, if they go undefeated, they're in. They're not worried. I mean, they're not going to leave the undefeated champions out. Look, UCF, we had a fight, but everybody sort of laughed and, put a billboard up in Tuscaloosa and everybody laughed. Have your parade down in Disney because that's where Mickey Mouse hangs out anyway. But they didn't care. I mean, I sort of laughed about it, too. We played Auburn in the Peach Bowl, and we were a 12-point underdog. And we won the game, but nobody cared as much. And stop. I hit my quote on UCF. All right, to move on, though, to the other ones. I'm done. Frank the Tank.
How are they doing this year?
What happened right there? Let's move on. So the next thing is, you look, though, at Clemson, the team that goes unbeaten, and especially, too, if you want to add little sprinkle and feelers to the way people always bring things up, if it comes down to, well, they've played nobody. Well, when Clemson annihilates Will Muschamp and the Gamecocks by 30, 40, 50 points like they've been doing, you go, oh, yeah, you mean the team that beat Georgia? The team that you're arguing with one loss that might get left out? That just because they played in the SEC conference, that team, the one that lost South Carolina, but now that Clemson beats them by 40 doesn't count. Those kind of things. You have to take everything into you cannot just pick and choose your stories. People are like, yeah, I do it every day. But you can't just pick and choose your stories, the ones you want to hear. You got to be realistic with all of them. And it's not if Kansas State beats Mississippi State in Starkville, and then Mississippi State turned around and beat an LSU in a game, which is not going to happen. But if that happened, because LSU already beat them, but if that happened, and then Oklahoma beats a team in the Big 12 like Kansas State, which didn't happen either, you have to at least relate all of that. You can't just say, well, it was an SEC West team, and then the Big 12 doesn't count because that's all these teams. We have to be same with Oregon. Yeah, you guys are not playing in the best conference. We understand that. But people need to realize that teams like Washington State, teams each and every week like USC's or teams like Arizona State's who went in and beat Michigan State at Michigan State, they're not just slouches. They still know how to play football. They just aren't talked about every day down here, and they might not be as good as the top-tier teams, which is pretty obvious. But Oregon hung and looked better than Auburn for most of that, for 3.5 quarters. They've got the number one pick maybe in Justin Herbert. They're a good football team. Oregon is a good football team. And if they played anybody out there, they deserve that kind of credit. And I would love to see them get a shot at somebody, but they probably won't.
You're fixing to bring tears to my eyes, too.
I'm just trying.
I kept looking over. I was yeah.
Wow.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, look at this.
That's
I'm going
the best I've ever heard.
Thank you.
No, and I completely agree with that, but like I said with Oregon, and I harp on Oregon because it's the only chance I ever get. Because I say Oregon outside of this booth here, and everybody's like, oh, boo, who cares? Whatever.
Yeah.
Yankee. That's what I get. Anyway, when you look at a team like that and you look at we talk about Clemson and everybody else, it's the complete body of work of everything. And so the reason I don't harp on Oregon is because we had our chance. We had our chance in Auburn, the first game of the year. Like a few years ago, we played LSU, we got blown out, things like that. But you talk about these rankings, and I think they're more media-driven than anything. You look at them dropping Penn State in there at number 4. Yes, Penn State's a good football team. But are they better than Clemson? No, absolutely not.
No.
And I would put anything on it that Ohio State beats them by 2 touchdowns, just because of how dominant Ohio State is. And that's not discrediting Penn State because they're a really good football team, but it's just a different level right there for them. So,
all right, I'm ready to make my. Let's go ahead and do it right now. Why not? I don't mind. It's already that week. The Patriots have lost. I've been sick as a dog. We've had a situation where There's just been multiple things happen this week that seems like this would be the week for me to say this. Bob Stoops, I post for the first time ever, like on Facebook, like I've got a call. I never use drop sources or all those people. Look, Joe Theismann was sitting here, and he just texted me, thank you very much for giving you a chance to come down. Joe Theismann's thanking me for coming down and cutting a commercial. Like, that's really cool to me. Like, Joe Theismann's the dude, and I get a chance to hang out with him. But those little things like this, in the light of what I'm doing right now, is it's been an awful week when it comes to the picks and everything I've done. So why not throw more onto it? Let's go with the 7-layer dip right here. So I'm going with it. Minnesota beats Penn State this week. Minnesota, you've got it archived right here. Minnesota will beat Penn State. They're not going to dominate them, but Minnesota will beat Penn State in this game 24-21, and we will end the conversation and the talks. It's not as far out and outlandish as you think. It's a 6.5-point spread, but Minnesota at home, they're not I've watched them play. They're not a great team, but Penn State's not a great football team either. They're a good football team, and they deserve that. Beating Michigan, being up at home in front of 100,000 people in Beaver Stadium against Michigan does not give you the credibility to say you're a great team. Or Wisconsin would be a great football team that lost to Illinois because Wisconsin annihilated Michigan at home. This is not enough for me to see with Penn State that this is a great team. When I saw them play Pitt, and they beat UCF, but when I saw them beat Pitt, it was 17-10, and they had to play in the final minutes. Pitt was winning that game for a lot of it. Besides that, they beat Idaho, Buffalo, Maryland, Purdue, barely beat Iowa by 5 points, which is comparable to Minnesota in about quality rankings. Yeah. So there's nothing here on the board to say to me that this is a team that's going to dominate. Michigan State's a bad football team, too. They lost at home to Arizona State. These are not – no, I'm not ready to sit here and to say Penn State is this great team. I'm not. I've seen them play. I've watched their games. They're a good football team. And I'm probably wrong. Like I said, that's why I'm going on this outlandish nonsense right now. But I am going to tell you that they lose, and then we stop the conversation, and Clemson's back in it. And Ohio State gets to sit back and say, well, even if we beat you, it doesn't matter. Coming back for more right here on the Sports Drive.
Imogen and I started Jewelers Trade Shop in 1956.
Our goal at Jewelers Trade Shop has always been to give our customers the best experience imaginable. It's something that my grandfather instilled in my father, and without a doubt, my father has passed on to me. Those basic core goals and values that shaped our business 56 years ago are still very much alive and a driving force behind Jewelers Trade Shop today.
For 3 generations, the story continues. Jewelers Trade Shop in downtown Pensacola.
I'm Mina Kimes, host of the new podcast, ESPN Daily. Each morning, we'll bring you a deep dive into a single story from one of ESPN's hundreds of reporters. ESPN Daily is brought to you by Indeed, helping over 3 million businesses worldwide find their newest star players. Post job openings with skills tests. Then sort, review, and communicate with candidates from an online dashboard. Sprint to Indeed.com/ESPN Daily and find a winner. Terms and conditions apply.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Guys, the secret is out. If you want healthy sex, your body needs nitric oxide. And now you can boost your nitric oxide production faster than you thought possible with Ageless Male Tonight, the absurdly fast formula from the #1 brand in male enhancement. Just take 1 capsule an hour before romantic activity. You'll get clinically tested ingredients that rapidly boost nitric oxide production, and it won't go unnoticed. Rush to 7-Eleven and get Ageless Male Tonight.
From the all-time leading running back Emmitt Smith to Hall of Fame linebackers like Derrick Brooks, Pensacola is full of NFL legends. Well, how about joining some of the NFL legends every Sunday down at World of Beer, 200 South Palafox, for your ESPN Pensacola NFL tailgate party? It all gets kicked off at 10 o'clock. Stay around for the best games, prizes, and more at your favorite destination. It's the NFL Tailgate Show on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
With 16 national championships, 26 SEC championship titles, and a team that delivers so many All-American players, what do you say to that? ESPN Pensacola presents Alabama Roll Tide Radio Show on Mondays starting at 1. Hear from local experts and former players about what's going on in Tuscaloosa. Get ready and let us hear you say it. Roll Tide Roll. Join the Alabama conversation this Monday at 1 o'clock. Brought to you in part by Gordon Auto Sales.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 is all about high school football. Catch the biggest local games every Friday night on Pensacola's home for local sports and our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brilliante, Justin Patrick, and Jeff Price sitting in here having some fun with us. And, yeah, I said it. Everybody just heard it. They marked it down. I took Florida to beat Vanderbilt, and it has been marked on there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But wait, that's not what I said right there? Okay, no. All right. No, I do have I'm taking the Golden Gophers. I am about to Minnesota. I'm going to take the Golden Gophers to go out there and beat the squad over in Penn State. Happy Valley will be not so happy at the end of this. And I think that Minnesota will be able to go out there and make some plays. Look, you got PJ Fleck, who he just got a 7-year deal done. He is one of those kind of guys that is pumped. He's excited for his guys. You said that moment where the guy got to go out there and play with cancer, battled. He had cancer 4 times and beat it, and he was able to go out there and have that moment. They're crying. Like, everything about Minnesota has been a feel-good story. Them and Baylor, a little different after Baylor's pass, but both of them eventually will come to an end. They will. They're going to lose. Baylor, I think, loses this week, maybe even to TCU, and TCU's 4-4. They just beat Texas. They're a better football team. They probably have just as good of a roster as Baylor. I'm not saying Penn State's not a better roster than Minnesota, but this game has all the makings of that game that you watch on national TV. The fans will be decking it out. They're going to be pumped. Paul Feinbaum even said this week that we've seen LSU Alabama so many times that he would love to see Minnesota and Penn State beat College Game Day. Now, I'm not going to agree with that. I mean, this is, you got 1 and 2, and everybody's going to, this is the moment. 1 and 2 in the polls, the original polls. I'm not. Now that they put Penn State over Clemson, I've dismissed the playoff committee. In my brain, I'm going with the polls that both have Alabama and LSU number 1 in the separate AP and coaches poll. They both are 1 and 2 in that. Now, I look right now at the way that both these teams are playing. It should be fun, but Minnesota will never have. 1946 is the last time they've been ranked as high as they are right now and been undefeated at this point. So, to me, there's going to be a lot of excitement in this, and for the first time, I'm talking Minnesota Golden Gophers football right now. So why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's make this happen.
They deserve it, though. And so you talk about game day. Are you thinking, could Trump be the guest picker? Wouldn't that be something? Just think about that for a minute.
That would be hilarious.
Well, let me tell you something.
I would love that. Wouldn't you love that?
How many? You would definitely watch that.
Whenever
you love the guy, you hate the guy. That's TV
Absolutely.
Right there.
They're definitely not going to allow him to do that.
Oh, Minnesota, you fired.
Yeah, just imagine some of the picks he'd make.
Oh my!
You know, Reese Davis is an Alabama alum. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, he's up there, so he's like, he could just walk over in his jersey, break it out like Superman on stage. Bernie Madoff could make from jail. Could make his so he's like, he picks the one guy. But
we did the Mike Price thing
listen,
yesterday.
Bernie Madoff, you could say what you want about him, but the guy conned. He duped. I think it was 1,000 people. Have you seen that HBO special or whatever? He did it in a horrible way. He ruined families, but guy duped. He was smart enough to dupe 1,000 people to give him millions of dollars. So yeah, obviously, that, to me, as an educational standpoint, if you're using that, that's not going to be in here in Tuscaloosa, we are proud of our Roll Tiders and our football. But from a standpoint of actually educating a guy, this guy had the ability to get
How'd that work out?
thousands of people to give him millions of dollars. So I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's a good person, not a good person, not a good heart. But from an educational standpoint, he was smart enough. He was smart enough to. They don't care mathematically. He took some really good classes when he was. That's all I'm saying. He was that much. Nobody's handing me $1 million. I'm making Minnesota Golden Gopher picks we were laughing about. So on that note, we'll come back. 1 more hour to go. We're going to talk to legendary Auburn coach Pat Dye. We'll see. And we'll also get to more on what's going on right now in college hoops. Big night ahead. Justin, Jeff, all the guys back there, Ethan, Caitlin, Bree, thanks. As always, you're listening to Sports Drive.
Football is here. Catch all of the UWF Argos games and the big NFL games every Saturday and Sunday on Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. If you would like to be a part of ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000 or visit our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
A glass cage of emotion. Welcome back as the Sports Drive gets ready to go for the second hour. Pat Dye will join us. We'll talk some college hoops, and we'll get to more of the big games in the NFL. Chargers, Raiders. Somebody will get shanked in the parking lot.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Brock's been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back, Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast on Blab TV. I am Chad Brilliante. Glad to be with you as always, always have some fun going over the big games and more. As legendary Auburn coach Pat Dye joins us each and every Thursday. We had our good friend Gene Stallings talking yesterday about the game, and he said he would set the line. Now, he's an Alabama guy, but he's realistic. He's never been on there, and he's never, he's one of those guys I respect the heck out of what he says, and he thinks the line should be about 11. And even if you said, I don't think that sounds right, well, guess what? It's the kind of guy that if you look at it, it's something where, hey, 11 points is that's what I picked, actually. And not purposely, but I said the final score of this game is going to be 35-24. I didn't set it at Gene's spread, but I think it's going to be 35-24 Bama. And I'm not going to say the game's going to get out of reach. I just think that they'll be able to pull off a late touchdown, and that's how it will go. Pat's not today?
Yeah, he says he took some Benadryl, and
hey, that's okay.
He's not feeling the best right now, and
please, if anybody can,
I was about to say that's you.
It's all right. Like, you're Coach Dye. It's completely fine. Like,
he's
get some rest if you want. Like, yeah.
He said, first off, I'm 34, and
tomorrow.
he's 80. So I mean, he has more of an excuse than I do. I'd hope. I'm falling asleep. Like I just was telling you about. None of you guys wanted to hear it, probably, but I was talking about gout medicine during the break at 34, and I'm going to be one of those guys on the jubilation formula commercials with the hover around with like the lady with that, like Chad Brillante fell out of his chair and could not get up. He's only 34, folks. Like, where am I help you? Like, it's going to be that moment for me. This is sad where my life is going right now with outside of that. I got a sweet family, but I mean, let's get to some sports.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
Let's get to some sports. Thank you, Pat, by the way.
Something.
Look at this. I'm doing notes since we are televised on TV. I'm doing notes right now. I can get this thing. My notes are done on my daughter.
Those
she doesn't
are
even
my
know
notes. What are you doing?
She doesn't even know that I've taken this.
Oh,
This should be my
mad.
Andy Reid clipboard right here over the mouth.
What a distraction that would be.
Look
really.
at this. This is how I do my notes at home. People
Did it-
think that we have
has
some
a
like
Where's
really.
Waldo?
I don't care about that side. I
What
care.
is this?
That's
Like if you made like, what if they
This
made
is
like,
what I do when I come home.
What if they did like Andy Reid, like he had a Where's Waldo picture, and like
Perfect. You know what'd be cool is if purposely they set up like for home field advantage, they did. You know how they have the sky cam? They have the Andy Reid cam. Like so, there's just a little bit like all of a sudden a drone camera just follows around over his clipboard. So it breaks down like one of those selfie sticks, but it drops down over his menu sheet. It's like wait a second. Like,
hit him in the face.
so like everywhere they go, it's just hovering right over his head, and it really is not even on because it's against. But just annoying the crap out of him. Like
he would take
I
it.
can see my mouth right now. Andy Reid, is he the best? There was a thing today as we get set to go for the game. By the way, so Pat's under the weather. That's where we're going here. And you look at the matchup with L.A. and Oakland tonight, the Raiders. If you think about the way that Phillip Rivers' career has gone, and he goes home and, kisses the wife, tucks in his 28 children, and when he gets done, he gets out there and Phillip has been one of those kind of guys that if he goes and he is able to just not have Tom Brady or Peyton Manning in the AFC, what could have been? It's like the Utah Jazz when they say, like, what could have been if Michael Jordan wasn't alive? Like, I think half the NBA says that. Yeah. But I look right now and say, if all those great Manning versus Brady teams, and then even Roethlisberger, like Phillip Rivers' team was always in that mix. There was a stat today that he is the best QB of all time that never won a Super Bowl. Would you agree with that? Is he the new Phil Mickelson? I mean, it's hard to throw that comment at you right now without the research papers in front. But I was looking at this stat today, and it's pretty fascinating because he is. Is he a Hall of Famer, though, as he gets ready for this game? Is Phillip Rivers, we all have a vote. We're all sitting there today. Does Phillip Rivers make the Hall of Fame? I can tell by the pause that this is obviously that easy to answer. Right?
Yes, because of the body of work, and I mean, like the person he is, and everybody. He's a likable guy. He's a fiery guy.
None of this should add to the Hall of Fame.
But it does, though.
Okay, I know, but
it does.
But Barry Bonds, I've always said that people are like, he's a jerk when they say. I'm like, okay,
doesn't matter how he played baseball.
He got walked with the bases loaded. So Barry Bonds has 7 MVPs. Second all time in Major League Baseball history, has 3. So regardless of what we think, if you just put stats on paper and you don't put faces to it, you go, well, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like in football and offensive line. You can be 6'7", 330, or you could be 6'4", 350. But the one guy who's 6'4", 350 could just be this huge jumbo, like Vince Wilfork-looking guy. And the other guy could look like Raekwon Davis or one of these guys that looks like a bigger version of tight end that took a couple of his Wheaties boxes and got stronger. Like, just because you weigh a certain amount doesn't mean that one guy can look completely different than the other, based on muscle mass and the size. And those guys that do the ultimate, the powerlifting thing, they don't look like the guy who's on a hover, the guy who's trying to get a box of Fruit Loops at Walmart tonight. They might both be listed at 6'4", 350, but they're different. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we can look at stats, and they can be completely different. Phillip Rivers is one of these kind of guys. These are the quarterbacks that are around him. I'm going to give you the list. Warren Moon, Dan Fouts, Tony Romo, Jim Hart, Jim Everett. Jeff Garcia's on this list. Jay Cutler, somebody is now starting to hang out with Jerry Garcia, and Randall Cunningham and Jeff Blake. So apparently, based on the quarterbacks that have not won a Super Bowl, he from that list, the only guys that would even be in the conversation to me would be Warren Moon and Dan Fouts. Tony Romo's not. He doesn't have the accolades overall. He's a better broadcaster.
Yeah. What about Jay Cutler?
We're moving on. Okay, so you've lost your right. We've been nixed. You've been nixed from this conversation.
I just wanted to do it one time.
Okay, thank you for doing that. So we're done here. Moving on.
On that note, real quick, last week I had made a comment that Baker Mayfield was the poor man's Jay Cutler.
Okay.
Yeah, so then that's the face I got.
That is Baker Mayfield this year is playing like Jay Cutler.
Okay, but I also want to add on to this real quick. I mean, when you look at the stats, it's really about what they consider. If you consider who else is playing in the league at the time, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, I think you almost it's a yes for me because look what he had to go up against. Other guys who are first ballots. That's tough to go up against and beat. And so just being able to do that, I guess you can excuse not having the ring.
Guys, he runs a 5.1240.
Okay, he's a quarterback.
He's
a pass
what about Tom Brady?
I was like, what are you saying?
I was kidding. It had nothing to do with any of his accolades. It'd be funny with Tom Brady if somebody did that, be like, I'm not 100% sure he's a Hall of Famer based on, he runs like a 5.3, guys. Back to you and be like, what? Like, where did that come from? So, no, obviously I was kidding.
Are you saying yes, he's a Hall of Famer, or no? In your opinion?
I'm saying yes.
Okay. Because and a lot of people talk about the rings, but so let me ask you this, too. Eli Manning.
Okay. Hold on.
He's got 2 rings. That's what people throw out there.
See, here's the thing is,
now you're throwing back the sports call last year.
Wait. Eli Manning this is a tough one just because as a quarterback without the rings, it's a big fat no to me. Big fat no. And based on his longevity and if you take the body of work. See, the thing is, we can take a couple passes of a guy's career and we put that in the same category as longevity. If I had to throw this out here, let's take an OJ, guys, at how many times that you believe Phillip Rivers has made the Pro Bowl. You want to go for it? Justin, I'll start with you.
7.
I'm going to go 9.
Well, you guys perfectly. Look at that. You guys are a couple. It's 8. You just could have joined hands.
That's perfect.
Equally, put the baby right in the crib right there. Yeah, it's 8. It's 8. So he's won, though. He's been the NFL passing leader 3 times. He's been the NFL leading rated passer twice. He has been, even from back in college, this doesn't help for the accolades of the Pro Bowl, but was the Offensive Player of the Year in the ACC, Athlete of the Year in the ACC, Player of the Year. And then when he came to the pros, he's been right back. Even after the injury, he was the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. So he got hurt for the 2012 season and came back. His stats are up there in almost all top 10 in history of the NFL in stats, and he's played a while. We understand that. But the one thing holding him back, and he's been with one team, too, that should mean something.
Right.
I mean, 2004, since 2004, when we were talking about, computers are going to kill us, Y2K. Like, back then, he's sitting here, and for the last 16 seasons, he's been with one team, and there's been a lot of people that have gone in and out. Natron Means, Marion Butts, watching LT.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah, Lorenzo Neal. I mean, years and years of guys he's played with, different fantasy football generations, and he is always. Antonio Gates was the one guy that seemed to stay there forever with him. But I'm telling you, what he's been able to do, Phillip Rivers' stats, I do believe he's the best player that didn't win a Super Bowl. Yeah. I think I wouldn't. I'm not shooing him in like, oh yeah, he's definitely. But I'm putting it, if I had to say, about 52 to 48%, he gets in.
Now, your best quarterback to not win a Super Bowl? Because if you're saying best
quarterback,
okay, because
yes.
You said best player. I was like, hold on, Randy Moss didn't win one. I was like, yeah.
Yes, Barry Sanders didn't. We're not going down that path.
Okay.
Walter, yes. Quarterback, yes,
okay,
quarterback.
I was just checking.
It's a good conversation. I think he's the one guy out of all of them. Eli Manning will get in, because his family, and he won 2 Super Bowls. And it wasn't just winning the Super Bowls. It were the Super Bowls that he won. It was who he beat and the nightmares he still gets.
Who was that?
David Tyree.
Okay.
I have David Tyree's address, by the way.
No, but do you really? And the poor guy.
Yeah, he has a hard key code to get. I can't unlock it right now. But I'm just
poor Phillip Rivers had to play for the Chargers his whole career. And just never happened, and you always hoped it would.
Well, now he gets to play in front of at least 1,500 people every week that are rooting for him.
Oh, they are? They have that many?
By the way, when they played the Steelers, it was about 80-20 ratio in favor of the Steelers.
That's
out
being
there.
Generous.
That was being generous. But the guy, and we talked about this, and Coach gave Coach K today gave a one quick answer to this. It's a big fat yes. Should the guy get fired who ended up playing the Pittsburgh Steeler fight song on the PA because it was 80% Steelers? And that is 100% yes. Like if it's your home team in LA and you're playing black and gold to the Super Bowl kind of thing, like you need to be canned from
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No.
Imagine going to like a high school football. This is funny, but like Washington's playing Pine Forest, and they're like, "All right, Wildcat fans, like Eagles flying high, Eagles flying." Like all of a sudden, like breaking out. Everybody like, "Wait, what's happening here?" Like, "Come on, Pine Forest, let's get into this." Like, get this guy, folks. He's infiltrated. Like, this is the worst you can do. You can't do that at your own home stadium.
No.
That is, even if it is 80%.
Even the concession stand workers were wearing Steelers jerseys.
Like, we get where you're at, but still, you can't do that for home field because you're getting your paychecks coming from an organization that says Los Angeles Chargers. Like, then you cannot do that. I mean, that's hilarious. That's
one of those. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on, man. On this break, Pat Dye, I'm not giving you a come on, man. I hope you feel better. I know he's at home right now.
Wait,
hold up. He's not feeling better?
No.
Okay.
Did Dan Marino, did he ever win a Super Bowl?
No. Dan Marino did not win a Super Bowl.
Well,
Chad has got this confused look on his face. And that's what I was
see him on that
wondering.
list. How did I put that guy on that list?
Oh, no. Best quarterback. Sorry, my apologies. Best quarterback never to reach a Super Bowl.
I remember now. Okay, things got different.
Clarify that.
My dad texted. He goes, "Damn, no." I was like, hold on.
100%.
And Chad's sitting here like, guys, you misheard me. That was your
obviously,
fault, not my fault.
You saw me. I was sweating to figure out a way to backtrack here. I was like, okay, obviously, 100% it's Dan Marino. So how do I get out of this? So, like, what way besides just like going and hit the button? Like, besides that,
That's not for a break.
Clearly we have changed it. You all weren't listening, my friends, when I said to reach a Super Bowl. I clearly said to win a Super Bowl. We'll come back for more. Get that out of my face. We're done here. Get out of here, everybody. We're done.
And you're talking about the list at ESPN.
Please go to break. Sports Drive may be coming back for more. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Saturdays are meant for sports, so Sports Call with Davis and Justin is here to kick off your sports weekend.
College football, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, the PGA Tour. If it's happening on Saturday, we're talking about it.
Plus, weekly interviews with the players, coaches, and fellow journalists.
Be a part of the show by calling or texting in at 623-1330.
Sports Call with Davis and Justin, every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome to the boat! Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the most food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. Snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
Pensacola is loaded with famous athletes, and when it comes to seeing a chiropractor for their sports injuries, there is one team they trust, Doctors Edwin Roberts. A family tradition for 3 generations, Doctors Edwin Roberts Chiropractic, next to Legendary Fitness on Mobile Highway, has helped champion athletes like Emmett Smith and Trent Richardson. Doctors Roberts specialize in relieving auto accident pain to physicals for the student athlete. The best treatment for sports injuries is prevention. Call 912-4155 for a free consultation and change your life forever.
What'd you do this time, Brad?
I'm in the doghouse after my hunting trip last weekend.
Yeah, I was too. I blew off our date for an FSU game.
How'd you get out of the doghouse?
Stillwater's Day and Medical Spa. I got her a gift card. It took 3 minutes at swmedspa.com. She booked it this Saturday.
Saturday? So 9 holes then?
Tee time's at 8.
To enjoy a hassle-free guys' weekend, let her relax at Stillwater's Day and Medical Spa. Visit swmedspa.com. Stillwater's Day and Medical Spa, voted best day spa 8 years in a row.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk that compelling moron. He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cow turd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Back here, having some fun with you on this Thursday evening. Thanks again to everybody out there listening or watching. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast on Blab TV each and every night. As we just called, I hope Pat's feeling okay. Did he? He picked up the phone. That was nice of him to do, but
he picked up the phone. It's completely understandable that if he's Coach Ty. It's completely understandable.
And he texted me at 3 p.m. today. 3 a.m. I would not pick up. That's not happening right there. But if you get a text at 3 a.m., believe it's not Pat Dye. And if he is, that's pretty cool that he wants you to party. But he's also 80 and should be a bed. But in this moment though, I already knew that, Justin. I was setting you up that.
Why not live it up?
I'm just playing with you.
Why not live it up? Hey, if you're 80, want to party at 3 a.m., you should. Go ahead.
Give Chad a call if you're 80 and you want to party at 3 a.m. All right, we'll post his phone number later.
They're up. Wait a second. First off, you just said 80 and 3 a.m. They're up, but that's called getting ready for breakfast.
Well, you better have your phone ready.
If it's my grandfather at 3 a.m., they're already doing yard work. He's reading the newspaper. It's the next day. You know when you get older, the biggest thing, and this is too long for a yearbook quote, but the way you really know that you've gotten older is when the conversation's about, man, it was such a late night, and you're like, what time did you get home? Man, 4 o'clock. And then when you get older, you go, I'm waking up tomorrow morning at 4. But when you use the word tomorrow morning, or man, I had a late night and it was 4 o'clock, that's the real moment that you know you've gotten old. Meaning that 4 a.m. now becomes the morning time to get stuff done, where 4 a.m. before that it was a late night, and I was going to talk about. You see what I'm saying? It's still the same time, folks.
Yeah.
But one is the night, and one is the morning, and that's when you realize you get old, because now it's always the morning for me.
Well,
if I'm 4 a.m. lost, please help me because I've lost my keys. That is a moment. I thought that was the best line, and he said it in a little derogatory way, so I'm going to do the clean version. But one of my friends who was trying to get himself back into shape, and he goes, guys, if you ever see me out there and about and I'm jogging, please kill whatever the blanking thing is chasing me. he said, because I am getting chased down the road. I am not jogging at that point. But yeah, it to me, 4 o'clock is about right.
Yeah, because
you start walking the mall at 5.
Well, my dad will be, hey, I need your help or whatever, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'll be there around 7 or 8. He's like, oh, you're sleeping in, huh? That I was like, oh, what? And he's like, well, 2:30, I'm up. Coffee's being made. I'm up. I'm reading, whatever I need to do. I'm just like, nope. Maybe one day. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't make it that far.
Don't want it to be that way.
By the way, you do know there's an over 70s mall walking group. This is not a joke. That's a real thing, by the way.
Here?
I don't know this one, but they're science fair projects that are in Melbourne, Florida. They were at the mall. And clearly, I always won first. I just took someone else's volcano with a. But But I remember I was out there and I asked them. I was the guy at 15 years old that would ask that why are these people? But they would get together. The mall opened at 9, and they would always walk around the mall. It was AC'd, free. You get music playing for you all the time.
Yeah.
Go and walk by fountains. Heck, if you forgot to get water, you just get 4 quarters. No, but don't do that. Do not reach into the fountain, folks. That's illegal. But if they did, they just go, "Oh my God, I don't remember where I am," and then they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." But so they're just walking around, and but there was a group, and then another group came, and it was like a walking club.
Did they have uniforms? That would have been sweet.
Because none of the cool hip kids get there until later to play video games and all that back in the day.
Yeah.
When like arcades meant something.
Yeah, I was like back in the day when arcades were
Do you guys still do
popular.
that? You're still in the. You can still do it. If
Dave
Jeff,
and Buster's, yes.
If Jeff and I go to the mall to just hang out, like just to like be over by like Sbarro Pizza or something like
You mean
that,
like the other day?
people would actually probably start asking questions like, "What is that creepy dude doing?" But like Justin, you could still probably hang. You know, you're high school last year, right, Milton?
Yeah, like
okay.
we still like go in the mall and hang out. We don't play arcade.
They're laughing.
I definitely do. I'll throw that in there. I go to
there's
Dave.
no, there's no,
arcades.
yeah,
There
they don't
aren't
have. Yeah, there
arcades. They're
used to
gone,
be.
yeah.
I remember when there was like in 05, like when I lived here. There was an arcade. It's not there anymore. There's glow in the dark golf. That's the closest thing we got now.
Yeah, and that's not very good.
It's not very good.
You do it one time, that's it.
I've done it about 4, 5. I tired of doing it.
You just do it. You probably do it because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah,
You know,
they've
you're
all.
like,
None of them have done it. I'm like, okay, hole in the one, first 3 holes.
They have that. I thought that when I went there that it must have been a late night, but I remember walking by the
wait,
golf.
4 p.m.?
No,
okay, real late night.
I know the guy. I know the
got
guy. Simon and I go back. By the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you didn't know that,
Cow.
Simon says on that game, but Simon says I'm always welcome in Simon's Mall. But so I go over there and I'm checking it out, and I realize that the glow golf has moved on the other side. Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Have you
it is.
noticed?
What's there now? I forgot. I think it's an H&M. I'm pretty sure it's there now.
But I go to the mall probably like I go to see Blake Webster at Moe's. He does a great job. That's one of our sponsors. We've got Steve Reynolds, Cordova Lanes over there. So I'll make my way over to those different areas that we have sponsors to say hey to them and stuff like that. And I remember going over there and I was like, I could have sworn that was on the other side last week.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Okay, whew. All right, I'll sleep okay tonight. All right, let's move on to some sports talk here as we get set to go. How about this for the slap in the face award this year? Not purposely either, but just the old powder, which was for that goes to our good friend Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket that ran out of gas a long time ago, as he has been having a bad season and deservingly so. He made a lot of money, so we're not going to go down the path like I feel bad for you, like Willie Taggart. But from a football standpoint, he has now been booed. He's the only quarterback in the history of the NFL to go 8-0 at one point and then go 0-8 to start a season. And at one point, and the funny part is, and the irony of this is when he was 8-0, he was making like the league minimum. And now he's 0-8 and he's making like $20 million a year. So welcome to getting paid what you deserve for your job. He wins. He's okay. But the story to this is A.J. Green has decided that he is the setback with the ankle injury he suffered. He was going to come back. Now he made that announcement, and Andy Dalton apparently wasn't too happy because I'm getting sources that nobody else is reporting that maybe or maybe not an ankle has been busted in the parking lot. No, I'm just playing. But AJ is back out. He's out now, again, indefinitely. So it just happened overnight. He said he was playing yesterday, and then Andy goes, oh, not now. Not after I got benched. But no, that is a completely hypothetical story, and no, it's 100% for liable on that. It's Andy Dalton did nothing to AJ Green's ankle. But in this case, AJ Green suffered a setback and is now out again. So not to matter. I don't think too many Bengal fans are sitting the edge of their seat right now like, come on, man, he needs to play or we don't go we need to go 1-8, not 0-9. Right now, you're front runners for the number one pick. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, man. Take it for Chase Young or Tua.
You got Justin Herbert or Burrow or Tua.
Thank goodness that the Dolphins played Gase and the Jets.
That
saved the Bengals season.
That was the most pathetic football game I've ever seen.
Yeah,
ever.
It really was.
They added insult. We were down there at World of Beer. Justin and I do the show down there on Sunday mornings, and we're down there. And the last 5 minutes, Sam Darnold gets the ball down by the goal line, throws a pick at the 1. So then the Dolphins get the ball at the 1, and there's 30 seconds left, and they're going to take a knee with a 21-7 lead at halftime. And Ryan Fitzpatrick fumbles the snap on a knee, and the ball goes into the end zone. He falls onto the end zone line with like his backside with the ball on the end zone, and they review it for like 45 minutes. And everybody's just sitting there looking at his orange beer and the zoom in, and then they go ahead and they determine it was a safety. So everyone's like, Lottie freaking da, this is a terrible game anyway. And the next guy comes out there, and then they punt it. So they punt it off to the Jets, and the Jets get it, and they throw 2 passes, best drive of the game, and they get a field goal. So 5 points. Literally, the Dolphins have handed them 5 points before halftime. So it's now 21-12 instead of 21-7.
That's terrible.
And it's awful. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the Dolphins get credit for that game, even though there was more hideous stuff in between both teams. So then at the end of the game, the Jets take a safety purposely and they go down almost 11. And you're like, that doesn't add up here. And they get the ball back, and they didn't want to like punt from their own one. They were afraid. Just the whole game itself just was out of control. It was. It was. It really. The cornerbacks, if you watch the tape of the games, and you can go to NFL.com and skip all the nonsense of actually having to go through the pain of watching it, but you can actually go to the highlights, and they'll show the touchdowns. All 3 touchdown passes from Fitzpatrick, one-on-one coverage with guys that aren't even trying. Like the other guy's just like a seal bobbing for his head to try to like poke at it. Like nothing. The Dolphin players just own these guys. And they're not great. First off, it's Fitzpatrick throwing a touchdown pass, so they're not owning them. I mean, they're not great passes. The guy's just not even trying to make a play.
Yeah.
It was just pathetic. And that's my Jets and Dolphins.
I think people at home are just like, all right,
move on. Let's get to some real sports. All right, so looking at the games coming up here in college. So Justin's make it clear that he is picking now the Minnesota Golden Gophers over.
I don't remember that.
Chad has just brought everybody in.
Everybody. You're now all part of it. But I do like Minnesota to win this game. I've made that my upset pick, and I'm sticking to it. It's 6.5 points. This is not a over-the-top Hawker pick. We started a Jared Hawker pick moment where in light of Jared Hawker's nonsense at Texas A&M, calling out Clemson as an offensive guard, and they were a 13-point underdog. We did anything over 10 points is a Hawker pick. So if you do over 10 points, it's the Jared Hawker pick and you win. I'm the only successful one to do that, although there's stipulation to this. Joe Ford and Eric Vadrine, they were not in the room at the time. So it was literally just me, and I made the pick. The shows are archived. I told them to go back, but they're not wasting their time on this. And I'm the only one to get a Hawker pick so far right. You have to win straight up. It's a 10-point spread. So we'll make our picks Friday on this if you guys want to survey. So I would not get a credit for Minnesota as a 6.5-point underdog to win this. However, it would be an upset.
But you also picked Vanderbilt over Florida.
No, I did not. I'm not going to go down that path.
No faith
at all.
No faith.
This is baseball, folks.
What are you talking about?
No. Faith only gets you so far in that. Yeah, no, Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. That they're bad this year. They're not a good team.
Tulsa. They'll beat UCF, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know why I have this face right now? It's not because I have this face in studio, but not because that you just had a disrespectful comment, which it was. But
I don't think it's disrespectful. You guys are terrible. Okay, I'll
the reason I have this comment now that as the Sarah McLachlan continues here, the reason is because there is the actual chance that they could lose now. Like back in the day, I laughed that off, but after watching Cincinnati and these other games, like I'm done with that. So
Golden Hurricane, baby.
Yeah, I was about
but Tulsa, they're 2-7.
Yeah, I'll give you a Golden Hurricane. All right, let's talk about the matchup tonight. Full synopsis: Suns Heat. And look, Ricky Rubio has been playing great inside, but just kidding. Ricky Rubio, though, he is fun to watch as a point guard. They got Aaron Baines. That guy looks like he's about to go nasty on everybody. He goes to the court to look for a fight, and that is my breakdown of that game. They're actually pretty good this year. They're 5-2, and they're playing some good basketball. Moving on here to our games that more people care about in this area. I look at the matchup coming up here this week, and a lot of people want to say that if LSU and Alabama, whoever loses this game, is pretty much now at the bottom working their way back. Frankly, no. The difference in this game, and this is one of those rare games that the eye test is going to be huge. The president will be there, so huge. This is just huge right here. This right here is one of these kind of games where if LSU goes out there or Alabama and they lose 31-30, there's one of those moments where a guy misses a field goal and somebody ran it back. How crazy would that be? But or something happens from a moment of a pick six or something just crazy. Something crazy happens. Like the crazy guy that heard that comment about the kick six and was waiting me in the parking lot. Like those moments right there, whatever it is, it's going to come down to that if it's a close game, people will give that because whoever wins this game will be number one next week. That's a guarantee. I mean, nobody's going to be like, well, Ohio State was able to go out there and, win a game in a game that nobody was watching as much outside of Ohio State fans because of the matchup that we had right there with LSU and what was going on there in the big matchup. Maryland is not going to be a team in any regards, no matter what happens with Maryland. Ohio State, they could win by 100 or they could win by 10, and they're not going to be ranked number one next week. It'll either be LSU or it's going to be Alabama. That's pretty clear.
Okay, but what if Ohio State beats Penn State next weekend?
Then we have an argument.
We have a great argument.
But I don't think by that point it's going to be enough. Because right after that, if I'm not mistaken, LSU and Alabama, this is when they both over the next couple weeks are starting to play some big dogs as well.
Well, that's the thing. LSU's played big dogs all
say,
year.
yeah. LSU has, yeah.
That's the thing.
But Alabama's going to have games against Auburn coming up. They're going to have games against Mississippi State, I believe, and that doesn't give you much.
That's not a big game.
No.
Have they fired their coach yet, by the way? Is he still there? Moorhead's still there?
They were excited about Moorhead, but now not too much. But I don't know. I think
the argument you can have there is if LSU wins this weekend, and let's say Ohio State wins next weekend, I still put LSU at 1 because of their strength of schedule. But if Alabama is at the 1 and Ohio State goes and beats Penn State, I think that's a great argument because I feel like you can put Ohio State above Bama.
But that would be a 1-loss Penn State team, right? Going into that game, according to you? Right? Right, Chad?
Yeah.
Regardless of listen, all of this nonsense.
Whoa.
Wait. My point is, you immediately lawyered me. You just completely you won. Thank you. Dun dun. But what you guys have did is I just said that if Alabama or LSU, whoever wins that game next week in the polls, will be number 1. And then immediately it was that's great, Chad. But if Ohio State beats Penn State, then next week where are we sitting? Which I go back to, can we stay on that week? So yes, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know. I have a hard enough time knowing if I ate lunch, let alone what I'm having for dinner. So let's not jump 2 weeks. Let's focus. If LSU and Alabama play here in 2 days, which they will, and the president will be there in Tupperville, and everybody's going to be having a kumbaya, and everybody will be holding hands, obviously, because they love each other. So all that, except that guy, Crystal. That one guy, Crystal. So all of this going on, though, whoever wins that game is going to win. However, if LSU or Alabama loses by just 1 or 2 points, or if it's close, whoever loses that game is going to still be, in my opinion, ahead of Oregon. They're still going to be ahead of Oklahoma, but I don't think they're going to be ahead of Ohio State or Penn State, obviously, because they'll still be undefeated if Penn State doesn't lose to Minnesota, as they will. You're doing a lot of Dolphins on me here.
Like I think they'll be ahead of Georgia. I say like if it's a 1 or 2 point loss, they'll move to the 5 and Clemson moves up. I don't see them dropping out of the 6 or the 7. I say it'll be the 5.
It all depends on who's undefeated.
This is my thing. This is my question to kind of counter that. What is the points limit here to keep them in the top 4? The loser. I say if it's a field goal, you can't knock them out of the top 4.
You can't?
I just don't think
you can't put Clemson over them.
I think.
Yeah,
Clemson's
look. I'm not talking. This conversation, obviously, this is like the relationship dating cards that we've all failed here. We all have swiped. We need to swipe to the other side. I don't even know how that works, but we all need to be compatible in another room with other people because right now we are not on the same page. Our conversations here.
Are we supposed to be?
No. We have gone way too. I am talking about whoever loses this game long term will still be the 1-loss team that has the best chance to get in. See what I'm saying here? Now we're going back. Okay, all right, back to making sense, I'd hope. So if LSU or Alabama loses by 1, it is going to be a tough decision for the committee to have LSU or Alabama with the 1 loss who doesn't play in a conference championship now, remember, that would jump an Oklahoma or an Oregon or one of those teams for the final spot long term. Because that's where we're headed. Regardless of this, that's where we're headed with this is if LSU or Alabama lose, they might have a better path, an easier path than a lot of teams because they don't have to play a conference championship, and they still are going to probably get in based on that the resume and the body of work. You're going to have a bunch of people saying, well, shoot, LSU's 1 loss was by a field goal to Alabama, number 1 in the nation right now, the number 1 team, and then you're going to be sitting there saying, but they beat Texas, they beat Florida, and they're 11-1. How do you leave that team in an Oregon that plays against Auburn and lost the game to Auburn, even though you say what you want, strength of schedule, but LSU had beaten Auburn by 20-something points or by 3 points, by the way. I understand. Okay, but regardless, it's going to come down to that. It's going to be a tough. This is going to happen. There's going to be an argument. Oklahoma has helped make things a lot more confusing by losing. They have made it a ton more confusing because if they won, that wouldn't have been an argument. If Ohio State was undefeated or Penn State, if Oklahoma was undefeated, and if Clemson was undefeated, they're in. And then you put the 1 team in the SEC, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, LSU, they're in. Now with 1 loss, the champions like Oregon and Oklahoma, that's going to be an argument against the 1 loss LSU or Alabama that's not in. Yes, it will be. It's going to be an argument.
But here's my thing. If LSU loses the game this week by a field goal, and they win out, I still think they're a lock for the playoff.
See that, but that's not but that.
Because
you're not a lock if you haven't made your championship, though. It's going to cause. This is what we're.
But
right
that hasn't been that big of an issue lately because we talk about it. Should it be? Yes, 100%. But it hasn't always been that way. And when you look at their resume compared to everybody else's resume, especially one-loss teams, how do you say no?
We could sit down and talk all we want about Notre Dame not being officially should have been in last year, but nobody on that panel or committee was going to have them out because they were unbeaten. If you were unbeaten. If you're Clemson, 100%, I'm telling everybody right now, it doesn't matter if you think LSU or Alabama is better. If LSU or Alabama loses by 1 point, they're not going to leave an undefeated Clemson out, so they're in.
Okay. Right. So you have Alabama, Ohio State, then Clemson, or LSU, Alabama, and then Ohio State and Clemson. You still put that in that 4 spot. You can put that one-loss team in there because there's.
That's the point of this whole argument, Justin. So you're going to put a one-loss That's where the argument's going to take place with the committee. You're saying a one-loss team that didn't even go to their conference championship should go over an Oklahoma with 1 loss who's their champion of their division, or an Oregon with 1 loss who's the champion of their division and conference. There's where the argument's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big deal.
I know it's a big deal, but didn't we run into the same thing of Alabama a couple years back?
Not really, because there was
Ohio State, weren't they? Were they conference championships back then?
No, but they had 2 losses.
Okay.
They had 2 losses.
Okay, yeah, that's right. So
I understand where you're coming from.
They were, but they had 2 losses.
But what the committee, in my opinion, what the committee is going to look at is the biggest thing is how did you end the season, and you're going to look at the eye test. And they're going to now. I love Oregon.
And your AD is sitting there on the leader of this pack.
Right.
He is the leader of the pack.
I would love Oregon to be in for sure, 100%. But when you look at when I look at Oregon and I look at an Alabama and I look at an LSU, it's hard for me to say, yeah, we're right there with them. It's tough. Go ahead.
No. We got to take a break real quick. I'm just getting a text in here, by the way, folks. Phil Knight has just texted me. It does not matter. I just dropped $50 million. We are in. Okay, there we go. It's out. Oregon must be in. Okay, $50 million for Nike. All right, big sponsor of the game. If you see Nike commercials, coming back for more right here on the Sports Drive.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Does pain have you sidelined on the bench? Clearway Pain Solutions wants you back in the game. Our team of compassionate, board-certified pain specialists, chiropractors, and physical therapists will relieve your pain and restore your function. For comprehensive, patient-centered care, visit a Clearway doctor at one of our convenient locations near you. Call Clearway Pain Solutions today at 855-527-PAIN or visit our website at clearwaypain.com. That's 855-527-PAIN or clearwaypain.com.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
This is a message for all parents. If you as an adult think it's tough being separated or divorced, have you truly stopped to consider how your being separated or divorced affects your children? How parents treat one another, either during or after divorce, can have lifelong effects on your children. Whether you are separated from your spouse or even actually divorced, in either situation, keep in mind that you and your spouse are parents forever. Hello, my name is Stephen T. Holman, and I am a family law attorney. If you have questions regarding custody, visitation, or child support, call me today for a free consultation at 435-6909. That's 435-6909.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough, but getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. It is Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante here alongside Justin Patrick and our good friend Jeff Price, who, with all of our teams and everything going on, we are having some fun arguing during the break as well, even more. It is not.
Chad was throwing punches.
The one chance that I need to save my voice for 2 seconds that I have talked, and I am now going to town. I'm even getting angry here with the voice because we're just claiming it. Everybody out there, why are you wasting your time? We've already claimed the trophy, so we've already taken it. Like that team that steals the mascot from the school. Like UCF started. All right. So all that being said, it's time for your Sun Farm Energy Power Play Moment, brought to you by your solar power people. You can check them out at sunfarmenergies.net if you are looking to save money and find a way to be efficient by also helping the environment and doing something. Solar power is a great way to go. And the folks out there, I see one of their solar power boats out on the water. It's pretty sweet out there. Folks, and educate yourself, because hearing it, you might not know what's happening. But go down there. Good people. They'll educate you through the process right there in Cervantes, and check them out today. But your power play moment of the day has to go to no other than right now, currently, a team that is trying to figure things out. But I'm going to go with Odell Hagens and FSU. And the reason for this is during all of the nonsense and everything that has happened, and this is really getting out of control right here with the mic, but I don't know if anybody else can hear that. But like Donald Duck in my ear right there. I think I got it. But yeah, it's okay. No, you guys don't. It's all right. Nobody needed to know
voices,
that. But, exactly. They're talking to me now.
That medicine
but,
you were taking earlier.
I was saying,
It's a grab medicine.
Grandpa, what? No. All right. So with all that being said, the Odell Hagens deserves some credit, because in the light of so much nonsense at Florida State, which it has been, firing coaches, Free Willy, Bobby Bound's 90th dadgum birthday got overshadowed by everything that happened this week. The Bob Stoop, everything that's happened. We're sitting here with a guy that all he's done is be a Florida State Seminole from day one. I was talking with Marty Stanovich, used to host shows with him and does a great job with the First Tee in Northwest Florida. And Marty said that he remembers Odell back in the day as a friend walking through the Love Building. That's one of their on-campus buildings there, and the dorms. And he says he remembers Odell's always been a Nole, and he's been that guy. And he's never been in the position of having a chance to get the head coaching job. But he always comes in as an intern. And when he was last time, he was the interim coach for Jimbo Fisher. All he did was go out there and help them win a bowl game against Southern Miss. Led their team when half the fans had given their allotment of tickets up. He still didn't care about any of that. He took a quarterback that weighed 110 pounds soaking wet, it seemed, to James Blackman at the time as a true freshman, and he won that game. Yes, it was Southern Miss, and we understand. But at the same time, he's just been a happy, does it the right way, is there for the kids, does his job, and has been a staple of Florida State during a lot of turmoil over the last few years. So I always want to find some type of positive and a negative. Yeah, and this is one of these kind of things. Yeah, so I got a tip of the cap here. I wanted to say that to Odell Hagens and what he's done right there at Florida State.
Oh, don't we just hope, after all this stuff that's gone on with these guys, and of course, I wasn't a fan of Taggart's because the way he left Oregon and everything.
Does anybody have the other side of that? I'm a huge fan of Taggart's, by the way.
Well, I know I work with a lot of people that are Florida State fans, and they just never really got on board with him. They understood.
There's a reason for that.
On paper, it sounded good, but it never really worked out. But don't you just hope that Florida State goes to a bowl game after all this stuff has happened, like for guys like Hagens and stuff, just to kind of reboot that, maybe trying to jumpstart for next year, and just for the kids that have stuck it out. You look like just all the players, they have talent on that team. They have some
They have a lot
talent,
of
believe it or
talent,
not.
One of them is not going to be playing anymore. Marvin Wilson's stepping away.
Yep.
6'5", 315. His hand is hurting.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, he's having surgery. Like, he's getting paid a lot of money. I'm okay with that. I mean, if it was like as a competitor, I'm not okay with that, but it's okay. I get it. This team's going, and he has an injury, and I'm not the doctor there, so I'd really like to see it. It's like those fake injuries with the cramps. The ones that there's some guys that actually are big guys that actually have cramps, and there's other guys that look over and then they do the fall. Like watching the NBA games, like half the flops out there. Luka Doncic, I'm watching that game, the Magic. Way to make that shot, Vucevic. But
what about like guys like Cam Akers though? Fantastic running backs, and like for Florida State, and he's going to go to the NFL and he's going to have a long career there. He's just such a talented guy, and you want guys like that just to go out on top. And that being said, that means make a bowl game for him. That he's not going to go out on top. But I'm sure at this point they would take that over anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
I don't know.
Man, talk about
Yeah, I mean, because I honestly don't
Knowles,
know.
I'm not a Knowles fan, but I hope you make a bowl game. I mean,
they ended the streak last year of not making bowls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Long
so it's
time.
already.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't think,
I just hate to see programs like that.
Well, honestly, I hate for the bowl game, and this is not offensive. It's like, look, growing up, before you go to UCF, you're not a fan of UCF. Especially back then. Now you are, maybe in Orlando. Maybe they have more fans since we have fake trophies. But overall, like when we were there, nobody grew up. You either grew up a Florida State fan, you either grew up when you moved, the people in Central Florida, you grew up Florida State, Florida, or Miami. Like those are the schools. And then USF came along, UCF came along, FAU, you maybe go for a sweeter tan of the girls at Boca, like those kind of things. But FAU has that. FIU is down there with, now Butch Davis out there coaching, having some fun. So there's colleges everywhere. However, as a Florida State, grad, at this point, I feel bad for the bowl game that gets them. And what I mean by that is if they get a bowl game at 6-6, there's barely anybody I know, and I know a lot of it. I got to speak at the Florida State. They're like, with these comments, you're not welcome back, son. But no, at the Greater Seminole Club, they're at Seville. David Forte and Todd West and all those guys, they do an awesome job. And got to speak at the beginning of the season. Ira Schofel was there, and he was the insider. I just sort of like started it off like the rodeo clown does the honking of the horn, and then they actually have like the bull come out and the guy. Well, so I'm out there doing that, and but I was honest with them. I said the difference between Florida State this year going 9-3 or 4-8 will be the difference between a few plays. And it's been the season.
For sure.
I mean, if you look at the game against Monroe, Boise State, Virginia, Louisville, not Clemson, Wake Forest, I mean, every single game could have been the other, vice versa, the way they've played. But now you're going to beat Alabama State, you hope. So to go to a bowl game, you're not going to beat Florida at Florida right now, probably. Not with the turmoil. This is it. This week at BC, a bad Boston College team. So this is the week. Yeah, they've got a good running game, but if you can beat Boston College this week, you pretty much are locking yourself in for a bowl game at 6-6.
Yeah,
this is it. I mean,
so
if you're a bowl fan, if you really want to get those tickets, this is the week you have to do it.
Well, let's get the Florida State versus UCF in the bowl game, the Battle of Florida there.
Oh, gosh.
Now we've gone that far. Is that where we're at right now? Okay, we're done. All right, but let's take a break. Let's go ahead and break. We're going to break. We're going to break. We're going to break. We have been compared to you have to beat BC. All right, we're done. Going to break.
The Ice Flyers honor those who have served with their annual Veterans Appreciation Night Saturday, November 9th at 7 p.m. Veterans, active duty, and retired military service members will receive 35% off their entire party with their military ID. This discount is available in person at the box office and online at PensacolaIceFlyers.com/vet tickets. That's 35% off with military ID at the Ice Flyers Veterans Appreciation Night on Saturday, November 9th at 7 p.m.
There's only one natural ingredient that could instantly shift your mood, help you focus, lower stress, and boost your self-confidence. It's available everywhere, works immediately, is affordable, and can change the quality of your life forever. It's called playing music.
Side effects include restless foot syndrome, spontaneous undulation, and can be highly contagious. If a smile doesn't last for more than 4 hours, consult your nearest music store.
Just play. Your prescription to a better life. Brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
Between work, school, kids, or just life in general, it takes a lot to get a great dinner on the table. That's why there's Nancy's Catering and Events. The Little Blue Building on Scenic Highway cooks up 8 different gourmet-to-go meals each week, plus lunches, house-made desserts, deli salads, and fresh-baked breads. Stay and enjoy your meal with us, or use our drive-thru. Nancy's is much more than events. They're delicious food with ease. Find us at 555 Scenic Highway, right by Scenic 90 Cafe, or online at nancyscateringandevents.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home to hometown sports, covering the biggest high school games. UWF football, catching every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Plus, local sports commentary with the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. And weekend sports talk with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick on the Sports Call. We are local. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Calling all Gator fans. Time to get down and dirty in the swamp.
Tony to the end zone, caught, touchdown! Here comes Russo, and the Gators win! Jordan Matthews is a postseason hero!
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 brings you Go Gators every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Go Gators on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Brought to you by the Holman Law Firm.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns. And that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. Welcome to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. Pensacola's home to the best talk in sports, new and improved. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 and FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola, 1330.
Just like this sounds like the guy at the karaoke bar that's had a couple cold ones. He's waiting to start singing, Sweet wheels, and it like never comes, and he just like he has the hand up in the air, and he's just like still looking around there, and that's the best is play some of the most classic songs, but just fool people into just nothing but instrumental.
Especially if you've been drinking, that'd be really easy.
Like AC/DC Thunder, like na 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 na, and then like never says anything.
He stands up and everybody sit down.
He's yelling thunder, and they're like, "Somebody, that's not the song, dude. Like, stop!" Or remix it right at that point. Ooh. Na 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 remix. Yeah, hey hey hey, like just getting right into like an old like Bee Gees song or something. Like, what the heck just happened? Like the most ridiculous remixes ever. Thane was showing me that. Thane Taylor was showing me that the other day. Thane does an awesome job over at the Sleep Center. You know Thane, right? Thane's awesome. So we were sitting there, but he has a whole video. You show me these videos of people that put together. Thane, if you're out there listening, or Nathan or other guys, but when we used to do the tailgate last year, he was showing me the videos on YouTube of the guy that put together like the remixes. Like he takes like a classic old school like song with maybe like a metal punk band together or something, like, but it's really cool. They go together. He takes both songs. We're gonna have to find that and only play 30 seconds of it so we don't get come at by the FCC. But
yes.
But it's really cool how they remix them. They take songs like "Never Gonna Break Your Heart" and then they can put something together like dun 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 dun, like and like the dancing, but it goes together perfect. Like Rick Ross in it with some classic coming back song, and pretty cool. So Dane, you're probably home by now, but if you're listening, that would be cool. Looking at the 850-623-1330 is the number. LA Chargers and Oakland Raiders. Who do you got? Based on that, you're both looking at each other. I'll go ahead and I will go ahead and start. I'm going to go with the Chargers to take it done. Can't even sing San Diego Superchargers. The most annoying, like back in the day, is like hanging out with Mark Wahlberg at the club. Bow chicka bow wow. Like, have you heard the San Diego Superchargers song? By the way, can't even play it anymore. It doesn't even make sense. I'm going to go with the Chargers. They win this. I think they're a better football team right now. They're gelling at the right time. They're Dr. Scholes. They got a team right now, if you look at it. Melvin Gordon, Hunter Henry, Keenan Allen, they're all coming back, and they're all healthy, and they're all playing together. And this is something where I think based on that, you got Bosa, who's out there. Anytime you got a Bosa, he's a friend of yours and not the QB. But Oakland, they're a weird team. I mean, I keep on wanting to convince my brain that they're not that good, but they keep on either being competitive or winning games against teams that you think will beat them. So Josh Jacobs, a heck of an athlete. I think when he got picked, everybody, not just Bama fans, but everybody was like, dang, you got to steal. Like that guy, he was a huge part of last year in that Alabama team. He was even the bright spot in what was a tough championship game. But Josh Jacobs has been so far the offensive MVP. I'm going to go with the Chargers still to win, with all that being said.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chargers, but it would surprise me if Gruden pulls it out.
I'm going with the Raiders. I like Josh Jacobs and Derek Carr together. I'm going with the Raiders just because I don't want to agree. So.
It's about to be 14-0 Louisiana Lafayette over Coastal Carolina, folks. That's how we're ending today's show. Guys, have a great rest of your night, except for Justin's pick. And God bless. Everybody have a good day. Golden Gophers over Penn State. Get it in before it's hot.
I have it.
Football is here. Catch all of the UWF Argos games and the big NFL games every Saturday and Sunday on Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. If you would like to be a part of ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000 or visit our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. Breaking news into Sports Center. ESPN NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski says the league is fining the Clippers $50,000 because of inconsistent comments regarding the health of star Kawhi Leonard. Leonard skipped last night's loss to Milwaukee. The team listed the reason as a knee injury. The league said that's true, but head coach Doc Rivers didn't keep up with the story.
I think Kawhi made the statement he's never felt better. It's our job to make sure he stays that way, and that's important. But he played a lot of minutes in the playoffs last year. So it's not a health thing. Really, it is in some ways. We want him to just keep feeling better, and getting better.
Well, Leonard is expected to play tonight at home against the Portland Trailblazers. Thursday night NFL about to kick off in Oakland. Final time for the Raiders to host the Chargers. And that game, again, in Oakland. In the NHL, second period, Islanders with a 1-0 lead over the Penguins. Isles trying for their 11th straight victory. President's Cup captain Tiger Woods has chosen himself, Tony Finau, Patrick Reed, and Gary Woodland as captain's picks to round out the U.S. squad. The upcoming President's Cup will be in Australia in early December, and we're less than 48 hours away from LSU in Alabama. That'll be Saturday afternoon. Bama head coach Nick Saban saying his quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, has a good chance to play. Of course, he's coming back from a high ankle sprain 3 weeks